Chapter 13. To my esteemed 5th grade students, congratulations to each table group team. Last week, you all selected a social issue on which to focus. Over the next few weeks, I encourage you to go a step further. Don't just study your topic. Immerse yourself in it. Strive to understand it. You will someday be running this world, and I challenge you to make it a better place. I can't wait to see what your creative minds come up with next. Sincerely, Miss Graham. Kaylee. Dear Miss Graham, what do you mean by immerse ourselves in our topic? We can't go swimming in it. Sheesh. We can't travel to places like Africa or Pakistan. I know Emily's dad does that kind of thing, but it's insane if you ask me. I heard there were tarantulas the size of my hands in Africa. Eek! You should tell us about Africa someday. My mom says you're from there. I don't know how because you don't have an accent or anything. By the way, I was right about Blake Benson. He's the worst member of our team. Even horrible Henry is better than Blake. He's the one who should be immersed, not us. Aviva. Date, November 14th. Miss Graham wants us to immerse ourselves in our topics, so I immersed myself in my Google search. I brought Kermit out in his mini carrier to join me. The topic that interests me most is girls not being able to go to school. Here in America, we all cry when summer is over and we have to go back to school. School feels like a have to instead of a want to. But I bet if we couldn't go to school, we'd all be begging to go. I know I like regular school way better than homeschool. So I clicked on the sites that focused on access to education. You won't believe what I found. There's a girl from Pakistan. Her name is Malala Yousafzai. Some members of a group called the Taliban climbed onto her bus and shot her in the face after she stood up for women's rights to be educated. Can you believe it? She almost died. And now she's this advocate for women's access to education. She won the Nobel Peace Prize and helped to open a school for Syrian refugees, all when she was just a teenager. Uberly cool. Malala is the opposite of me. She speaks her mind, and her danger is real. What's my danger? That someone will judge me, or misunderstand me, or be mad at me? I did write that anonymous note when Miss Graham played that awful Whistler game. But I did it secretly, so it's not the same. I am making a promise to myself. I will try to speak up more. If Malala can do it, so can I. P.S. Kaylee's getting stressy again, like she did with the egg off. That girl does everything loudly, and I think it's contagious, because I now feel like a stress case too. Maybe I should write her a sticky note that says, chill. Sharon. Every Thursday night, my church hosts a soup kitchen for families who are struggling. But they don't just make soup. There's bread and salad and something else hot, usually pasta. Plus, it's nearly Thanksgiving, so maybe there'll be pumpkin pie. My grandma volunteers there twice a month. Maybe she can bring my whole social issues team so we can immerse ourselves. If Grandma drives us, it'll kind of be like I'm hosting. I don't do that kind of thing very often, but I did have Emily over last week, and I have to say, it was really nice. Emily. Status? Dear Hope, Mom gave me a thumbs up to the soup kitchen field trip. Normally, churches give me this weird, you don't belong, you don't get it kind of feeling. Maybe because we've never gone as a family. I went a couple of times with Kaylee's parents, but I always felt like I was wearing pants that didn't fit. Just uncomfortable and fidgety. I didn't get the prayers, I didn't get the songs, and the books smelled funny. Sometimes I wish my mom went to church, or dad even, so I'd understand this stuff. But when we helped in the soup kitchen at Sharon's church, it was a whole different thing. It was all about the working. Sharon and I got to wear plastic gloves, and we arranged the bread in a basket. We made patterns with it so it looked really nice. Brown roll, brown roll, white roll, like that. They didn't let us kids actually serve the soup, probably because they were afraid we'd spill it or burn ourselves. But we got to hand out cups of water and talk to people, and that was cool. I wish Mom had come with us, but she didn't feel up to it. Again. Love and luck, Emily. Aaron. My grandma has crinkly wrinkles and gray hair, like every other grandma in the world. But there's something about the bounce to her step, the dangly earrings, and the hair that hangs to her shoulder blades that makes her seem young. She tells me she's a hippie who never grew up. She smells like sugar and iced tea, and her skin is so soft it feels like a baby's. She let me sit in the front seat. Mom never does that. So we could fit my teammates in her red Honda. And she gave up all control over the music choice. I love Grandma. We car danced all the way there and all the way back. Cecilia. Hola, Abuelita. I can't wait to tell you about our soup kitchen project. Gao! Sharon's Abuelita makes my heart sing. You wouldn't believe her. She doesn't seem like a grandmother at all, more like a cool tia. And I can't see her age anywhere except to her face. She drove so fast that I had to grip my seat so that I didn't tip. She tapped her fingers on the wheel to the beats of the music like she was dancing and driving at the same time. She knew everyone at church, and she gave out hugs like dolces. The soup needed more spices, but no one seemed to notice. The people filled their bowls and plates and ate quietly. Kai stood next to me serving salad and making me laugh. I'm not used to so much attention. It's nice, I guess. When I left, Sharon's Abuelita kissed me on the cheek, and that made me want to cry. I miss you so much, Abuelita. FaceTiming is not the same as having you in person. When I'm a grown-up and I can travel by myself, I'll visit you every summer. Can't wait until I'm 18. To practice spices, especias. Besos y abrazos. Cecilia. Henry. Scene. Classroom work groups. Henry wondering if it's possible to die from boredom. Miss Graham hovers. How's your research on women's access to education going? Kaylee. Slow. Glares at Henry and Blake. Seems like the women are the only ones working here. Miss Graham pulls up a chair to sit down. Have any of your grandparents told you stories about walking 10 miles in the snow to school? Henry. Barefoot, right? That's like one of those old school stories parents tell their kids to make them behave, just like the eat your veggies, they're starving kids in Africa bit. Miss Graham. Well, quiet for a moment. The truth is that there are hungry children in much of the world, and those aren't just stories. Even in America, a good education used to be harder to get. Some kids who lived on farms had to miss school during seasons when there was work to be done on the farm. Children really did walk miles to get to school each day. Can you all think of other examples? Aviva. How people fought so hard to end segregation in schools? Miss Graham smiles. Yes, good example, Aviva. And as you know from your research, in other countries, sometimes education for women is forbidden or just not accessible. I was born in a part of West Africa called Sierra Leone, and there weren't enough schools and teachers to educate everyone. Blake. Does that mean that some of the kids don't get to go to school at all, even if they want to? Miss Grant. That's exactly right. Henry, surprised because he had no clue that Miss Graham was from Africa and thinks this is fantastically cool. Kaylee. Did you go to school in Sierra Leone, Miss Graham? I've been wondering. Miss Graham. I did not. I was adopted by an American family and brought here when I was 3. It was a time of civil war in my country. Stands up. I did go back and teach in Sierra Leone for the first few years after I earned my graduate degree. Bell rings for recess. 22 minutes of freedom. Kids grab snacks from backpacks and make a mad dash outside. Henry. I curse this research on women's access to education. Does Miss Graham have to enlighten us all the time? Now I feel guilty if I fake a stomachache to get out of class. Blake. Poor baby. Henry. You see, Kaylee? That's how it's done. Kaylee, red-faced. I'm tired of you guys fooling around all class. Henry, at least you do part of the work. But Blake, you do nothing. All you ever do is draw. This is a group project, and we get a group grade. If we get a B or a C, it will be all your fault. What's your problem? Blake, face getting splotchy, turning and storming towards the soccer field. Kaylee. I'm trying to talk to you. Grabs at his shirt, yanking him backward. I'm not going to let a dummy pull my grade down. How dumb are you exactly? Blake turns to Kaylee and shoves her hard. Kaylee lands on her butt in the mud. Blake wipes at his eyes. Henry. You're a jerk, Kaylee Brett. I don't care how smart or rich or pretty you are. You need to get a grip. Leads Blake away and leaves Kaylee in the mud. Kaylee. Dear Miss Graham, I let that Blake Benson have it today at recess. Big time. I didn't mean to get all in his face like that, but he just kept right on walking, practically running. I grabbed for his shirt, and then I said something mean. It slipped out like soap between my fingers. Then Blake whirled around and shoved me hard. I flew back and landed on my butt. I had to go to the nurse's office and borrow a pair of loaner jeans because my butt was all covered with yuck. Principal Severance asked me what happened, but I didn't tell because Blake was crying. He got those hiccupy breaths and he couldn't even talk. That's why I didn't tell. Miss Graham, the good thing is that you can't get mad at me since you're not supposed to be reading these journal entries. Besides, you can't expect me to sit here day after day with such irritating seatmates and never speak up for myself. I'm sorry I said something mean, but nobody's perfect. I'm allowed to make mistakes too, you know. Question. If I'm the one with a ruined pair of pants, why is it I'm still feeling so bad? Blake. Wicked Witch of the West. Dummy. I'm melting. Chapter 14. Delia. Hola, Blanquita. We talked about education in school today because one of the table groups is studying access to education. I'm glad they're researching that topic because, hello, do you guys even realize how lucky we are? Education is like gold to people who want it. But I think the people who have it forget how valuable it is. Like, for example, Mommy risked her life to travel to the United States so that I could be born in this country and be able to go to school here. Sometimes I get frustrated with the other kids. Like today, Blake pushed Kaylee. It's not okay to strike someone else, no matter how irritating they are. But I heard what she said, and it made my mouth drop to the floor. Nobody is talking about what happened. Blake didn't tell on Kaylee. No surprise. And Kaylee didn't tell on Blake. Big surprise. Kaylee has a huge blind spot. She only sees the world through her own eyes. She doesn't realize there are so many other ways to live. Someone needs to put a sticky note on her desk that says, "Open your eyes." Words to practice. Surprise. Sorpresa. Besos y abrazos. Cecilia. Dear Miss Graham, I don't think you're being fair with this social issues project. Every single day I have to sit in class irritated because I have 2 group members who goof off. That's half my group. I'm not just a little irritated, I'm a lot irritated. The other reason is that these are big problems. It's not like we can do anything that matters for this project. So what's the point? Kaylee. Dear Kaylee, thanks you for raising this concern. If you're feeling frustrated, I imagine others are as well. I will speak to the class today. Sincerely, Miss Graham. Henry. Scene! Miss Graham tries to convince the students that this assignment has a purpose. Typical. Miss Graham. It's come to my attention that some students are feeling discouraged about the social issues project. Let's discuss this. Class, quiet. Kaylee. It does seem sort of pointless. Miss Graham. How so? Blake. Well, these are all these sad things happening in the world. It's not like we can actually do anything about it. Miss Graham. Has anyone ever heard of the butterfly effect? Aviva. How a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly? Is it the idea that people can change? Miss Graham. I really like that idea, Aviva. I love that human beings have the capacity for change. This particular term refers to something different, though. Kai. Isn't it when a butterfly flaps its wings, it might change something across the world? Like some kind of ripple or something? Miss Graham. Yes! It's the idea that a small change in one thing can lead to big changes in other things. Like, for example, I know one of our teams served food at a soup kitchen. Imagine a hungry man who came to eat there. Let's say his name's Fred. Pretend Fred came to the soup kitchen so hungry that he could hardly think. He left with a full stomach, and because he was full, he had enough energy to apply for a job. What might happen next? Kai. Maybe Fred's a hard worker and they like him. Henry. Maybe Fred gets promoted or gets a better job. Aviva. Maybe he doesn't have to worry about being hungry anymore. Miss Graham. Let's say all these things are true. He saves his money, and after many years of hard work and investment, Fred winds up wealthy, and he credits his life to that one meal at the soup kitchen. Let's say he wants to give back. What might he do? Sharon. Open up his own soup kitchen. Emily. Adopt a bunch of kids? Blake. Build a frog habitat? Miss Graham. Right. He could do a wide variety of things to help others. That one meal, that one kind act could snowball into 1,000 kind acts and then could affect many lives. That's the butterfly effect. Sharon. That's cool. Henry. Can the same be said for something negative? Like, for example, someone is mean to someone else? Looks at Keeley pointedly. Miss Graham. Absolutely. Anything and everything we do, positive or negative, big or small, can influence other people and the world. Kai. Is it like what we did for Kermit? We rescued him. He'd have died if he was left outside, but we saved his life. Henry. Yes, and somehow, looks at Blake, hopped his way in here to our class. We're frog heroes, making a difference one frog at a time. Kaylee. So we saved a frog. Big deal. Henry. Maybe because we saved Kermit, one of us will go on to be a famous biologist who solves global warming and saves our planet. It's the frog effect. Miss Graham. Yes. Remember, change can take place on multiple levels. Even change within yourself is change. Henry whispers. Maybe some of us will get set personal goals, like maybe not to call people mean names. Kaylee, red face. Miss Graham, refocus your social issues project. Think about whether there's something you can actually do to make a difference. Remember, even something small can have a big impact. Document your efforts in your journals. I challenge you all. Henry. Ooh, challenge. Me likes that. Emily. Status? Dear Hope, Miss Graham has me thinking, how can we truly immerse ourselves in our social issue if we're sleeping in our comfy beds every night? We're supposed to challenge ourselves. Does organizing bread rolls at a soup kitchen somehow make me understand what it's like to be poor? Sharon and I talked about this at lunch today. I told her that my dad would say no, that we still have no clue what it's like to be poor. Then I told her all about his work as an investigative reporter. One time he spent a week in a refugee camp just so he could write about the experience. Sharon is so interested in my dad's work. It makes me remember how extremely cool it is. I think I'll get to Skype with him this week. I hope so. Maybe he'll have some ideas. My wheels are turning. Love and luck, Emily. Sharon. I am untethered, a lonely ship on the sea, with high-powered speed and nowhere to go. But now I spy a direction, a purpose. I want to do something real. To understand what it's truly like to be homeless. Maybe then I can find a way to make a difference, just like Emily's dad. Miss Graham says, immerse yourself. How about being homeless for a night? That's diving in the pool at the deep end and swimming all the way down until our ears feel like they'll burst from the pressure. Full immersion.